So this reading is kind of a spooky reading. These readings at the very, very end, right before we get into Advent, are the end of the church calendar. And so we're really called, just as November itself is a day in which, or a month in which we contemplate that fact that we will die, that there will be judgment, that there ultimately is more to the story, that we have an eternal destiny for heaven or hell, and we may need purgatory to purify that. But these readings they speak about this a lot, to remember that reality that this world will pass away. And the more that we can remember that, and not in a morbid sense, but in a way that allows us to live in such a way that we allow the things of this world to become, in a sense, sacramental. So this is really what is one of the calls of the new evangelization, this idea of bringing the gospel again to a people who have become inoculated to it. And that's our culture. Everyone, in a sense, for the most part, knows the name Jesus, knows in some way that he died in some sort of way. But that doesn't really mean anything a lot of times. And a lot of what is happening now is more and more we have this narrative that is influencing our mind, our culture, our entertainment. So many different things, but it's really that sense of what you see is what you get. And even heaven is just kind of like it's just going to happen. But really what matters is this life, these things. And more there's a shallowing of just seeing everything in its material aspect. We call this materialism. And we're not able to see deeper, to realize that all the things of creation are actually much more mysterious, much more, C.S. Lewis would say, enchanted, because they're shot full of grace. And that's what these readings, the first reading and the response, is saying. The heavens proclaim the glory of God. Through all the earth, their voice resounds. Not a word nor a discourse whose voice is not heard. To the ends of the world is their message. And originally, this means that creation itself is proclaiming the glory of God. And some of the fathers of the church would say that Adam and Eve, before the fall, could read the book of creation. One could even see it as the fifth gospel. But once sin came into the world, we started to get confused, and we weren't able to, in a sense, read the beautiful book of creation that proclaims the Father's love for us. And this first reading in the book of Wisdom talks about how people got stuck, focusing on the things that should have led them deeper into the mystery of God. And here we're talking about the Greek myths, we're talking about the Babylonian myths, we're talking about this worldview that is able to see things that are mysterious, to be able to see the moon, to see the changing of the seasons and things like that. And it was leading them in the right direction, but then they got stopped. And they weren't able to, in a sense, break out of this world, and they started to worship the things of this world. So a sacramental vision of the world is to say there is a visible sign that leads you to an invisible reality. That's what a sacrament is. Water poured over. There is this mysterious reality that the sign leads us deeper in. And if we just stop and just say, well, it's just kind of a ceremony, we just kind of put water on there, it kind of reminds us that God's washing us, then we're missing the point, because it's so much more than just taking a bath. There's this deep reality that we're confronted with a mystery. Or the covenant of marriage that is enfleshed in the very bodily way that husband and wife give themselves to one another. That's holy, that's sacramental, that's mysterious. The visible shows this invisible reality, the very love of God. But in our world right now, we're getting more and more shallowed out, so we don't really see the depth, the mystery of what all created things are pointing us towards. To that reality that there is someone that created all of them. And the very creation is proclaiming the fingerprints of God. And so this is really our call in this time, is to help people slow down, contemplate the created things of this world in such a way that it leads them to a relationship with Christ, who is Lord of all creation. And in him, all creation has its being. Without him, it's a body without a head. We can't really understand or make sense of things. And we start to, in a sense, go after something that's very, very beautiful. And yet we get stuck, just like the ancients did, but we get stuck in different ways. We get stuck in materialism. We get stuck in a glorification of the body. We get stuck in the good things of this life, but we don't allow them to lead us deeper into a deep worship of the one who gave those things to begin with. And the gospel today is speaking about the importance of not clinging, because when we don't have the sacramental vision of the world, we stop with the thing itself, and we hold on to that and we try to possess it, instead of allowing it to be the icon that leads us into the mystery of God. And so that's what's being spoken of here, where it says that as in the days of Noah, as in the days of Lot, he's saying when the Lord comes, there's going to be this reality that many are kind of stuck with just focusing on this life. And even though maybe they might say, well, yeah, there's heaven and stuff like that, but really in their heart, in their decisions, in kind of their way of being, they're really focused on what really matters is just the stuff of this life. And they're all good things: eating, drinking, marrying, giving up in marriage, selling, planting, building, buying. These are all good things, but what the Lord's saying is they're getting stuck. And they're, in a sense, worshiping those things by holding on to them. And it says here, when the Lord comes, don't go down and grab the stuff. Don't hold on to these things. It's saying, don't hold on to the created things. Remember the wife of Lot. If you remember that kind of spooky story where she turns into a pillar of salt, but it's because she was mourning all the things that she was leaving behind. And she wasn't open to receive the beautiful gift that God wanted to give her. And she's like, I want to cling. But in clinging, she became part of that judgment. And so the Lord is saying, don't cling to the things of this life. Because when we do that, we miss out on the beautiful vision that God has for us. So I encourage you just to think about that. Think about, where are the ways in our own life that we've, in a sense, substituted the creation for the Creator. And all of us have it in different ways. And it's through prayer. It's through silence. It's through allowing ourselves to wonder like children, which is like an eagle that's going around and around and around and around. It's actually going deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's encircling. It's getting closer each time. Wonder is like that. It's focusing on something, but going deeper into it and saying, where's the mystery? Where's the sacramental vision that leads me to encounter the face of God? And that will happen within your family, seeing your children smile and realizing that this is an immortal soul that is destined for beautiful things according to the Lord. To gaze into the eyes of your spouse, to realize your love for one another is not really just an earthly thing, but it's mystical, it's heavenly. To encounter the sunset or the sunrise, the water that flows, the grass beneath your feet, the little tiny ants that walk around, all of those little things proclaim the glory of God.